Good morning, AARP North Dakota and friends. Josh Askfig here again, coming to you with the second edition, the June 8th edition of All Things AARP North Dakota. And as you can see, not just me this time. With me is Wendy Hogue. Wendy,
Hey,
your first appearance? Kind of
yes,
doing this, at least in a long time.
it is my first appearance. Thank you for
Yeah,
having me. I'm glad to be here.
super excited. We're going to talk to Wendy here in a little bit about some of our AARP North Dakota in your community events and segments here in a second. As a reminder for our watchers, and if you're new to this, AARP, all things AARP North Dakota, we launched a couple weeks ago to provide regular updates and information about what is happening with AARP North Dakota, how you can engage with us, and ways and resources that might be of value to you. We'll have 3 segments on pretty much every show. We come live the second and fourth Thursdays of every month. So this is the second Thursday of June. So we're here on June 8th. We'll be back in a couple weeks. But each of the segments, the first segment will be AARP North Dakota in your community, where you can expect to hear about different events, different volunteer opportunities, or things happening in communities in and near you that you might want to engage in and be a part of. The second segment we'll always have is something on our advocacy work, so our AARP North Dakota advocacy segment. And last but not least, we'll have our AARP add-on, which is some sort of resource or piece of information that will be helpful to you and your family to help you thrive and empower you to live how you want to as you age. So with that, let's get started with our first segment, AARP North Dakota in your community. And for segment 1 for AARP North Dakota in your community, we're going to talk about, and the reason Wendy's here is, Wendy, you and I last week, this was just last week, it feels like a while ago,
It
but
does
just
feel
last week,
like a while
we
ago.
kicked off our Passport to Healthy Living summer hiking series last week. And we went where?
We went to Fort Ransom State Park.
Yes,
It's a beautiful area.
it's a great area. This was not our first trip to Fort Ransom State Park.
No, this is last year we were at Fort Ransom State Park as well.
Yeah, awesome. So before Wendy and I dive in, here's a short little video to give you a synopsis of what we did last week. Your second year at the hike, so tell us why you came out today.
Well, we came to Fort Ransom last year and thoroughly enjoyed it. We wanted to come back and try a different trail. We'd also gone to Turtle River, and that was really wonderful too.
What makes hiking an attractive option for you, or something that causes you to come hang out with AARP?
It's the lack of the city noise is what we really enjoy, and you can have a nice conversation.
And just the quiet, that goes with what he's saying. The quiet is wonderful. And nature itself is beautiful. It's a beautiful park. You know, they have the snacks, the water. The park rangers were really nice too. What's not to like? Activity is good.
Well, thank you both. See you in a bit. So you got a small sense of a little bit of what we did last week out at Fort Ransom State Park. Big thanks to Bill and Lois for doing the interview with me as part of it. They were part of the approximately 45 folks we had last week at Fort Ransom State Park. So Wendy, talk a little bit about our events, like how they're structured, how we got into doing the hiking, like why we're doing this hiking series.
Well, last year our members really like to be active. And so last year we started a hiking series and went to like 3, probably 4 parks last year. It went over very well. And this year we decided to do it again. We have 5 hikes in our hiking series this year. Started out at Fort Ransom, like you said. And what makes it special is we have this collaboration with the state parks and their rangers. At Fort Ransom, there was a ranger there. He came out. He did a intro where he talked about the park and the trails and things that to avoid, or do's and don'ts. And then he also offered to take everyone on a hike, whatever trail they wanted to pick. The nice thing about hikes is it's accessible. Anybody can do it. People come with their dogs, and sometimes multi-generational.
Mhm.
It's outdoors. It's fun. People like to be social. But again, back to our park partnership, last week was Shannon with Fort Ransom State Park, and he, like I said, he did a really great overview, and most of the folks actually went on the hike with him. And so they did the trail, and then they came back, and they could have choices to do whatever trail you want, whatever level you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the fun thing I find about hikes is we try and we have a great partnership and collaboration with the North Dakota State Parks. If you want to understand North Dakota and small town North Dakota, as you all do, and we do, to make a very long story short, the person we coordinate with just so happens to be my former college roommate, Josh Steffen at North Dakota State Parks, which was fun because we didn't know that when we started doing this hiking series a year ago. Just happened to find out when Doreen Redmond, who does our community outreach, our associate director for community outreach, came to my office and said, I have a meeting with this Josh Steffen next week. Do you know him? And I said, actually, I do, as part of it. So great. Talk just a little bit more about one of the things we've talked about, and one of the things we make sure this year, kind of our focus is to share brain health information as part of the hikes, and making sure that folks know the AARP Global Institute on Brain Health resources. And part of that, and one of the 6 pillars, is that ongoing exercise piece. So can you talk a little bit about how we did some of that?
Well, we incorporated as far as the ongoing exercise, the hikes piece is a part of it. And people can, like I said earlier, you can go on whatever hike you want to go on. We're going to 4 more state parks this year.
Yep.
And they're all, located, and you can't go wrong in nature. So part of having brain health and exercise is being outside, getting ongoing exercise. Socializing is a big piece as well.
De-stressing. Yep, absolutely. All of those are part of those 6 pillars, and we'll have additional information at our upcoming hikes. You can find all of our events and upcoming events at aarp.org/ND events. But specifically, if you want to sign up for the hiking events, you can go to aarp.cvent.com/ND hiking 23. You can see it on the screen there in front of you. Thank you, Janelle, who's behind the camera today, as part of it. That will have all of our upcoming hikes. The next hike is June 21st at Fort Stevenson State Park.
Correct.
And we're excited to get up there. That'll be a new park for us, and a new set of trails for us that we have yet to explore. So we hope you'll come join us. Again, you can find that and all of the upcoming hikes. They will culminate in the final hike is going to be in Medora with in the Theodore Roosevelt National Park, actually the last hike in September. As part of it. So again, aarp.cvent.com/ND hiking 2023 for that. So with that is our AARP North Dakota in your community segment. And we're going to move on to our second segment, which is AARP North Dakota Advocacy. For our AARP North Dakota Advocacy segment, we're going to talk a little bit about the legislature. Yes, we know the North Dakota legislative session has formally wrapped up earlier this year, but that doesn't mean they're not going to continue doing work during the interim session. And in fact, they met just last week. Legislative Management, which is a committee of legislative leaders in both chambers, met last week to start narrowing the issues they're going to study between the legislative session. So between the legislative session that just wrapped up and the one that will be coming up in 2025, they narrowed approximately 70 study resolutions that they passed in the legislative session down to 49 studies that they approved to be doing. We have looked through that list, and by we, I mean Janelle and our advocacy team and our A-team volunteers have looked through that list, and we've narrowed down to 13 studies that we're going to be actively following this interim legislative study session. They range in topic areas from barriers to housing. We know individuals wanting to stay safe and independent in their homes and in their communities for as long as possible is at the top of mind of older North Dakotans. And we know housing and accessible housing and able to stay in their housing is an issue and concern. And so we have that. Additionally, accessible transportation for older adults. How do folks, when they need transportation, when they have transportation needs that can't be met by driving on their own, or maybe they don't have access to their own transportation, how do they get around? We also know continued discussion around retirement security and pensions will be at the top of our minds, and then also Medicaid expansion and how folks that are on the Medicaid expansion program, perhaps you are one of the approximately 9,500 older adults covered under Medicaid expansion in North Dakota, how we continue to ensure that you have access to affordable quality health care are some of the 13 issues, wide range of 13 issues that we'll be studying. As you can see on the screen, if you're interested in getting involved, if you're interested in being part of the AARP North Dakota A team, we call you the A team because the advocacy team, you can visit aarp.org/ND advocacy. Again, that's aarp.org/ND advocacy to join Janelle and her excellent A team. With that, I think that wraps up our AARP North Dakota advocacy segment and leads us to our last segment today, the AARP North Dakota add-on. You know, when we started this all things AARP North Dakota, this add-on was kind of pitched to me, and so I know this is only the second time we're doing it, but I was kind of a little bit unsure about it. But I think that this is really exciting, and I'm excited about it because we can start talking about some of these awesome free resources that folks can access. And maybe Janelle can start pulling up the resource page that I want to talk about today. But we're going to talk today about the Social Security Resource Center that AARP has. Wendy, Social Security is important to older adults, yes?
Yes, indeed. It's something I'm starting to take a really good look at as well. I'm getting close to the age where I need to pay attention and look at what the options are.
Yeah, absolutely. And AARP has resources to help you do that through our AARP Social Security Resource Center. If you, and Janelle's bringing it up on the screen here shortly. Right there, Janelle. Sorry, it's a little bit behind the scenes action you get to see here. You can visit aarp.org/social security, and that will take you to our Social Security Resource Center, which Janelle is showing on the screen here. It has access to information and answers to questions you might have about Social Security, as well as one of my favorite things. It's going to talk about the fight to protect Social Security. We know from our discussions that and the information released by the Social Security's trustees report that without action by 2034, beneficiaries could face up to a potentially 20% benefit cut. And we know that you've paid in and earned this benefit through your paying into Social Security all of your life. And so AARP is going to be there to help stand up and be a part of those discussions. And we want to make sure you know how to do that. In addition, I don't know if we can find it quick enough, and we probably should have practiced this a little bit more, but future learnings to continue to make it better. There on here is a Social Security calculator. Have you used that calculator, Wendy?
I have used the calculator. It's really beneficial. It's easy to use.
Right there. See it on the screen. Janelle just opened it. So sorry, keep going.
Well, that's pretty much it. It's really easy to use. I encourage you to go to the site and check out the Social Security calculator. We have heard from our members as well that they really enjoy that resource.
Yeah. Janelle, if you can scroll down on the screen just a little bit more, it allows you to input kind of your income ranges and whatnot, and then also looks at if you start drawing at what age is when you can start drawing, what would be the potential impact on your payment. So again, a great resource. I think something we wanted to make sure you were aware of as our AARP add-on for our June 8th episode of All Things AARP. With that, I think that wraps up our All Things AARP for the June 8th edition. We made it, Wendy.
We did it.
High five. Marnie will never believe that she went on vacation and we made it all the way through this without her. But she's on a well-earned vacation. You know, as we mentioned at the front end, and just as a cap on the end, we're going to be back the second and fourth Thursday of every month at 10:30 a.m. The great news is, even if you can't watch this at 10:30 a.m. live on our Facebook page or on our YouTube channel, it's always on both of those pages for you to go back and watch again at your leisure. And hopefully you're hearing and getting a sense of how these are going to flow and what they're going to look like. My charge to you, if you've enjoyed these, or even if you didn't enjoy these, leave a comment, like our Facebook page if you haven't already, like our YouTube channel if you're on the YouTube channel, and let us know how you think. Also, you have topic ideas you want to hear about, things you want to know more about that you've seen or understand from AARP, drop us a comment, drop us a note in either of those places. We'll be back to do it. I know on June 22nd, we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics at AARP. I know one of your favorite topics at AARP, our volunteers and our volunteer leadership. We have a new AARP North Dakota Volunteer State President, Nancy Guy. You get to hear a little bit more about her. We also have a new Executive Council member, Margaret Fitzgerald. We're going to talk to her as well. a little bit. And then, this AARP add-on, I think we're going to have another fun, exciting resource. So if you have something you want to hear more about or learn more about, we're happy to highlight it here. With that, we'll be back on June 22nd at approximately 10:30 a.m. With that, this is All Things AARP North Dakota. See you later. Have a great weekend.
See you.